Moving on now, Bob Shemwell is an architect, a big-time architect with a lot of letters. FAIA, LEED, AP, BD plus C, which I don't think you can say those words in a museum either. He is a fellow of the American Institute of Architects, a leading practitioner of sustainable design whose poetic work brings a systemic and an environmental approach to design and the creation of just beautiful public spaces of international importance that you may have seen, some of them. As the head of the educational program over a four-year period, he oversaw the explosive growth of Green Build. That is the U.S. Green Buildings Council International Conference and Exposition. His current work includes several new products and projects in China. Sorry. That was a test, okay? You guys passed. Huge. I'm not going. The Middle East and Mexico. Give it up for Bob Shemwell.
All right, before I hit the space bar, what I want to talk about tonight is a special word in the English language. That word is potential. So potential is one of, I believe, the strongest words that we have. And it's one of these unique words where it changes its dimension and meaning in relation to time. So in the future tense, this project has amazing potential. And in the past tense, oh, look at that guy. He had such potential. Okay. All right, what I want to challenge you all tonight is to think about how to change the tense and to bring it into the present. Because when you bring those pieces into the present, that's when you can grasp potential. That's when you can realize it. That's when you can exploit it. Yeah. They told me I had a minute. I'm down to 20 seconds. All right, so I'm hitting the space bar, and we're going to share tonight our thinking about that and how we use it in our work. All right. So a survey of the world leaders in economic, business, and government said, what is the biggest thing that you need? And the number one thing that came back was creative thinking and innovation. That's also the key to prosperity for the U.S. That's key to the prosperity for San Antonio. But only 1 in 4 people believe that they're creative. So why is that? It starts with a mindset. It starts with a belief, I think, for a lot of people that somebody who's creative and innovative must be somebody else. I think God made us all as creative beings, and you need to grasp it, embrace it, utilize it in your work and in your life. And now it's like 30 seconds on that. So cultivating a creativity takes, for me, a lot of diverse stimulus. So I find that when I read about everything except architecture, I do better architecture, and I love new apps. It's the best part for learning. And it's a muscle that has to be exercised, developed, so that you can utilize it to the best extent, and it becomes easier as you go. How many people can relate to this? Yeah, last minute panic. That was me this morning finishing the slides because Leah told me mine were all wrong. But creativity has time, space, rhythm. You have to find your rhythm, the way that the space and the place and the timing that works for you to create and to have creative thinking. And it's one of the things I want to encourage people is don't wait until you think you know where you're going to start, because the work itself is actually where you find potential. It's in the engagement with people, new ideas, and the work itself that you discover new parts and new dimensions and richness to what you're doing. So we're privileged to get to work on all kinds of projects in all kinds of places, and our work is known for being culturally and contextually responsive, highly sustainable. We like to say if we do our job right, that what we do couldn't be built for anyone else or anyone else. And philosophy is so important. You know, we think of it as a luxury, but it's your worldview. It's your understanding of what it means to be a human being. Our view is that every project has a deeper opportunity than what is first apparent, and that it can be realized in a truly inspirational way. We call it the embedded potential. And to unlock that potential, what we found is it relies on creating a culture of collaboration and a process that's about inspired inquiry that leads to those aha moments and a catalyst for transformation that are tied to our basic notion and understanding that physical transformations create human ones. Now, collaboration would be really easy except for all those darn people. So we have to find different ways of relating to each other. And so we spend a lot of time creating common currency, especially because we work in a lot of different places across language and time and space. And so we use images and words to do that, like in places like China, where we are taking a lake that's for 25 years has been one of the most productive places on the planet, now is one of the most polluted ones, and looking to change the social contract where an attitude of refuse and use has turned into reuse and a series of virtuous transactions. Planning in China usually says if there's a village, demolish it, move it out of the way. In this case, what we did is we said, that village has been there for thousands of years. What do they do? Why do they do it? Why is it there? Can we build it into the plan? And this is the first time in over 3,000 years that the lake has gotten bigger, not smaller. In the Allegheny River, Pittsburgh was the heart of the industrial might of the nation, but it left a legacy that was problematic and cut off the cities from the riverfront itself. And you can see the site with CSOs and scrap yards that now we are changing and turning into a reconnected piece, 1.5 miles long, that connects 4 cities back and takes advantage of the potential here that it was cut off. And so we have our own watershed, we have our own infrastructure, and we're able to do an incredible sustainable solution that is tied to Carnegie Mellon and the Heinz Foundation and people like that who help us realize that. In central Mexico, ranches and ranchos and haciendas were not necessarily sustainable, but they were self-sufficient. And so here outside of San Miguel, we're doing Rancho Cuatro Sillas, where we are re-engaging that idea of a self-sustaining community that is all built out of material from the site. And in Pennsylvania, up in Pittsburgh, the coal mining was a great utilization of resources, but left behind big problems. The first time I walked the site, I saw this clear water, and I said, oh, that looks like you could just drink it. They said, don't do it. I said, it's so toxic, that's why it's clear. Nothing can live in it. And where we're doing using the building to actually rework and create solutions for acid mine drainage. Sometimes the embedded potential is taking a site that is so darn beautiful, you just don't want to screw it up. And so at Imanta, on the Pacific coast of Mexico, among sea turtles and endangered species, we created a place that when my wife and I went back over Thanksgiving, you can't see it because it was designed to be absorbed by the jungle. And so you'll never see this much of the buildings again. And it's an extraordinary place that is all built from material from the site and recycles water. Sometimes the embedded potential is dealing with a circumstance like San Miguel, which was started in 1540. The entire city is a World Heritage Site. How do you meet the demands of a burgeoning, growing area and do it in a way that with respeto, with obras, with traditional? And here we're doing a very large development on that hill just outside that picture, where we're bringing in 1 million square feet of building to meet the demand that's there, but to do it in a way where every car is hidden from view, where it's familiar, but on closer inspection is completely new and modern and meets the opportunities of a modern and new place. So what I want to tell you is that reaching potential is about taking chances. And so in the spirit of the opening, I want you all to look around and say, I'm not leaving here without a new friend. I'm not leaving here without a new idea that I put to use. Take a chance, use it, reach your potential. The world needs you. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you. All right. Now, just a couple of questions. Because you talked about planning on some of what you do, as you look around in San Antonio, we're supposed to have 1 million more people within the next 20, 25 years. Mm-hmm. What do you tell? There's some people out here who work with the city. There's some people who are very influential, maybe private investors who are looking to build. What do you see as what could really go wrong in San Antonio, and what do we need to do now to think about how to get 1 million more people into a workable, livable city that we like?
Well, lots of things could go wrong, but the biggest one is water. So that's the dimension that we need to make every piece of the city work to conserve and reuse and rehabilitate. Seventh thing is I fundamentally believe in civic Pilates, okay? Strengthen the core. That means all of the things that were voted for yesterday. Thank you for all the civic support for things down on Hemisphere, on Broadway, on our parks. Those are what we need.
And how about just a couple other things? I've heard people say that they're worried about downtown, as we get 1 million more people, that the open spaces will go away. What we now see is parking lots, and the parking we don't need, maybe on the ground, is going to be a building 10 feet or 10 stories high, and it's going to block the sun, and we're not going to have the same downtown.
I think it's a fallacy. I think you have to embrace density. You embrace density so that you can preserve open space. You do it in a way that is beautiful, efficacious, edifying, and you invest in things. I think that people in the future, businesses can be anywhere, people can live anywhere. What we have to do is we have to create the finest city and the most livable city that you can do, and then you're going to be successful. I believe that.
In 20 seconds or less, how do you deal with sprawl?
I'll go back to strengthen the core.
Oh, okay. And now, where did you come up with that idea that I heard a lot of the guys say, don't leave here tonight without a new friend?
Well, I really do believe that you have to translate hopes and dreams into very short deadlines. We're not here for very long. We need to make a difference, and you just take advantage of every person, especially. I think that's our most incredible resource is the way that you meet people, engage them, find out what they have to offer into the equation, and you don't find out unless you ask a question.
Give him a hand. Bob Shemwell, thank you very much.